we're going to have a conversation around low carbon ag, which is of course the UK's only conference and exhibition focused solely on low carbon, sustainable and net zero farming and land management issues for a profitable and sustaining farming future. The four main themes include energy, farm technology, low emissions vehicles and environmental business. Given that the UK is committed to achieving net zero greenhouse gases emissions by 2050, our sector, the agricultural sector, is uniquely placed to be part of the solution. Thousands of farmers, farm managers, farm consultants, estate and land managers and more flock to low carbon agriculture to find suppliers who can help them take advantage of the drive to green. Olivia, a very good afternoon. How are you?
Hi, I'm good, thanks Cliff. How are you doing?
I'm all right actually. Do you like the show?
It's great to be here.
Wow.
It's packed, which is always good.
35,000 people, we think.
Yeah, there's a lot of people. Exhibitors seem happy, so excellent.
Well, that's great.
Good start.
Yeah. Always a bit early to say, isn't it? It's the old joke
yeah.
about a man jumps out of a 10-story building, so far so good, he says, as he passes the third story. So.
I mean, that's quite dark, but...
So, low carbon ag, really interesting show. We're going to talk a little bit about that if we can. You know, some key things that the UK are committed to, as in the intro, net zero greenhouse gas. How can UK farmers really meet those really quite stringent targets?
Well, as you've just said, that the targets to be net zero by 2050 is a national target now. Farming has set its own target of net zero by 2040, which has been led by the NFU. It's something that's here now. The industry is working towards net zero, not only just net zero carbon, but also just lowering that carbon footprint. It's something that we're seeing coming into contracts with suppliers. The supply chain wants farming businesses to lower carbon, to become greener, as you said in your intro, and obviously there's incentives to do that. But it's here, it's happening. Businesses are already making great headway in doing that, but there's still quite a long way to go. You've got such a breadth of businesses, some who are kind of just starting out on that journey, others who are already net zero. So it's something that the industry is really striving for, and obviously some businesses are there closer than others.
No, I get that, and being driven by the supply chain I think is critical. One of the key frictions is the ban on petrol and diesel in 2035 or whenever that is. That's not that far away, and we look around us and there's not a lot of EVs here. So how does that particular hurdle get cleared?
Yeah, I think it's a huge question. It's one that we're just not there yet. You'll see there's so much technology and innovation in the sector, and farm businesses are really at the forefront of that. But like you say, there's still a long way to go in terms of getting the infrastructure set up. The cost of this kit as well is quite prohibitive to some businesses. So you're talking, really big capital investments. However, if there is some support to get businesses there, then obviously that's something that we're hoping to do with Low Carbon Agriculture Show, is to give people all that information, get all the experts there under one roof, so that businesses can then look at what options are available to them at the cost price that's accessible to them.
You're right, there is still a bit of a stigma though with people think this is going to cost them a lot of money. And we're in a room surrounded by exquisitely expensive bits of kit, and the thought of stuff being even more expensive, I think, is probably what worries people. Is there support available, such as funding opportunities and grants? Yeah,
so as you'll have probably heard already today, that farming is faced with probably the biggest changes to policy since wartime, since the Second World War, of course, and that comes at a time when there's massive pressure on businesses to invest in greener things like alternative fuels and vehicles and green practices, but that costs money. That's also coming at the time when the government is reducing direct support to farmers. So businesses are in this really strange, quite difficult time where they're considering the future and seeing, we need to invest, but where is that investment coming from? So as you've just said, there are grants available. There's various different funding streams that are available to farming businesses. I think what Low Carbon Agriculture Show is going to do is bring a lot of these experts under one roof, so that you can look at what grants are available to your business, because it's one of the biggest topics at Farmers Guardian that we see at the moment. So people want to know, and it's tricky to find out where to get this information.
This isn't going away; it is happening, and farmers need to come to the show and speak to the experts. Is what I'm hearing.
I think to have such a range of experts under one roof, where you can talk about transport, vehicles, fuel. You can talk about regenerative farming. I've just been in a session looking at carbon credits and how you can sell your farm's carbon credits. This stuff is here. It's quite accessible, but I appreciate that it can be a bit of a minefield. So I think to get a load of experts under one roof over 2 days at Stoneleigh, hopefully when farmers leave the show, they can come away feeling really informed and quite comfortable that they've got all the information that they need.
And is it possible that a low carbon approach to farming actually might make farmers more profitable in the future?
I think there is, it's absolutely right that the two go hand in hand, and that actually greener practices do mean positive things for the bottom line of the business. We are seeing it already, cutting things like fertiliser use, fuel use. Obviously, fuel, fertiliser, agriculture inflation is sky high, it's still stubbornly high at the moment. So anything you can do to lower those input costs obviously has a really beneficial impact on the bottom line.
And balancing increased and sustainable food production with environmental and energy needs, as you just touched on, that's critical to farming full stop rather than just low carbon farming?
I think all this stuff that we're talking about and all the conversations that we're hearing at LAMMA as well is that it's about shoring up agriculture for the future. This is about making sure that the industry is in a really good position so that it can prosper in future, and for all the brilliant people who work within it as well. So it's a really positive thing, and it's just great to be involved in it and leading the way on it.
Leading the way indeed. So give me the dates again for the Low Carbon
So
Expo.
It's the 6th and 7th of March, and it's at Stoneleigh in Warwickshire, which is at the National Conference and Exhibition Centre, which is in Stoneleigh.
So people can go online and get tickets.
It's all there. It's free to register. So please do join us.
Yeah, definitely. Brilliant. Well, thank you so much, Olivia.